Everyone carries bags from the sex shop. Respectable people settle for spectacles and neck tops. Croydon is a system like all the others, but runs under cover of the bus stops. People plot lives across timetables in crisscross patterns past the hour. Know the numbers like nostalgia, but it's a life where travel is a black mark on a single card, and freedom masquerades as white powders, and I buy it by the pound with gift vouchers. Buy your best friend packages in plenty. Don't be racist, but best be unfriendly. Cling on to them against the storm, against the normal people pouring. Give me warning, I like life boring, so we'll learn when the streets aren't busy. But that window's closing and it's frayed with broken glass, and Westfield's being built like a Jurassic Park dinosaur, sticking its scaffolded skull up above scorched earth, getting a better view of those below, those staring down at their phones, or tablets. Those who don't know, those whose fingers are too cold, those whose previous phone models are getting sold at the sex shop after they got robbed, and before the presence of money makes those harmless hijinks stopped, then will be peas in a pod, me and my muggers, peas in a pot in a side dish to bigger fish to fry, boiled and buttered, and now we'll see who's on top. That was a poem about Croydon.
Yes, Croydon!
One of the only poems about Croydon, probably. I'm going to read words now. Less instruments in these ones. This poem I wrote while waiting for a flight. And it's called You and Me, brackets, while I am flying EasyJet. Close brackets.
Yeah, I was thinking that.
Yeah, you don't want to I know, that's how to piss off audiences, is to not, close brackets. Yeah, less skin now. You and me, brackets, while I'm flying EasyJet. The plane is delayed, and still you text. I will release more information at 11 PM. I only realised halfway through my iced tea that it will not be allowed on the plane with me. The bottle, which looked so half full moments ago, now looks half empty. It is 11 PM, but I have released nothing. Not even a feathery breath of wind has escaped one of my orifices. Are you okay? You text. You keep putting more and more X's on the end of your messages. It is playing on my mind a one-sided game of paranoid tic-tac-toe. But what if our phones can only type a limited amount of X's and yours can type more than mine? I sweat. I put the tiny bit of water in the top of the iced tea so that it looks half full again. Yes! I think, punching the air from the back of my luck dragon. I will treat myself to a whole iced tea before my flight. Smiley face. There is a little smiley face. Just ice.
Close bracket.
I smile at the woman in the duty-free shop from which I purchased the beverage. She continues to scowl. I tell you at 11:30 that our gate has been called Terry. Apparently it is open, but it is shut in my face. A queue forms. What does this mean? You text. I don't know, I reply. You don't offer any reaction to my joke about the gate being called Terry. The scowling woman is not getting any customers. One man wanders around her shop, parading his creased forehead in casual strides like it is deflated sail he is somehow still proud of. Both I and the woman know he won't buy anything. Perhaps I I muse, this is the nature of a duty-free shop. A shop in which nothing is bought. Maybe you should call it an off-duty shop, I shout. People stare at me. Our bags are being taken, I say. You reply, worried. Don't worry, I say, it's just taking a long time. My bag is practically empty. As I prepare to go through the X-ray scanning security device, I finish my iced tea and put it on the ground. I briefly consider how cool it would have been to enter the X-ray device, iced tea in hand, a martyr to freedom. It would be like that scene in The Matrix. The plane now has an expected takeoff time. It is midnight. You are happy. You do not send kisses, but then they follow in a text of their own. Through people's legs and bags and crutches, I can see my iced tea sitting where I left it. It is a duty-free iced tea bottle. Perhaps at another time and place it could have fulfilled a higher purpose. Somewhere in the world there could be an alcove in the shape of that iced tea bottle that is empty. Maybe it is in England, and when I land I will see it, and my guilt will be amplified, and I will cry. How could I have been so selfish? I text you to make me feel better. I write I love you at the end to save on X's. My flight is delayed, but still you are coming to pick me up from the airport.
Woo!
This is different. So, like, people hate on Facebook. Oh, Facebook. But my response is to be like, well, you know, Facebook is people perceive it to be destroying the social interaction that we usually have, but it's just, you know, my reaction to that is, well, but it's just, what it is, it's just like transferring it to a different medium, a different form. Like, people still socialise just as much, but through this medium. It's not necessarily like the answer to the problem or anything, but yeah, and this is kind of like that, but it's about texting, and it's called ApocalypSMS. Do you understand? You got it though, which is something.
With your heart each other.
Yeah, ApocalypSMS. Yeah. Any pronunciation suggestions will be received.
Oh yeah, I'm just going to use it.
You done?
ApocalypSMS. When the land of beasts cometh, I will go to live in the Cadbury's factory and I will eat chocolate. I will start off the apocalypse with a lovable pet, a dog, perhaps, or an antelope. There will be blockades and strange happenings. Police will move through the streets in gangs, making the rest of us feel like zombies. There will probably be more survivors in the factory. I hope we get on. It will be like the first day of school again. At the Cadbury's factory there will be food. Not enough food, but enough to last us until we as a species fold away. There will be water. It may be salty and that might be a problem, but let's continue anyway. There will be fire, because there will be things to burn. The most difficult supply to maintain will be electricity, and it will be the most important. In the land of beasts, phone chargers are traded for food. 10-pound plastic slips of rusty mobile technology are traded for someone's last drops of water. We text. I wake up and I text Leeds to check he is okay. After breakfast, I text London to let her know that the 5 of us are still alive. We save the battery during the middle of the day. Mid-afternoon, before the hunt, we turn our phone on. Sometimes there are messages. They say things like, no texts from South Sheffield today, watch out for police. Or, please come to South Sheffield now, sick, Joe gone. During the hunt, we do what we can, and afterwards we report on our experiences. In the evening, after eating, we excitedly switch on the phone again. We do this in the high office, the corrugated iron peeling away like an orange skin. It is cold, but now we have a clay oven in the high office, which keeps us warm. We gather around the phone and text, defend, govern. We hear about the developments in Parliament, how the barricades are holding up, and how the law books are slowly being deciphered and rewritten. We hear from the Anti-Police League and etch each other's graven smiles gently, sharing smacking lips sincerely in tales of violence. We text One Manifesto and plan our next trip to visit them on their farm. It has now been 5 years and a few months since the roads were clear enough, but we all remember the farm. We text Bristol and get jokes and poems back which stoke our fire and cheer our mugs of thin tea. We text York's Animal Watch and they tell us of the future. We retire with food for thought. But before I sleep I text Leeds to check he is okay. I could do one or two more.
Two.
You happy to
Two.
sit there for a bit
Two.
longer? Because I'd like to. I've been published by my friends at university as part of their course. They have to do this. It's fine. This is published. I didn't even write a page on it.
Are you like selling the book? Can you like, if you want a book later?
We've only got one copy, so 20 quid.
Entrepreneurial.
Yes, thank you. Page 30. For anyone that's going to buy the book. Page 30. This was inspired by a ballet, Corse Hair, which obviously is French for coarse hair. So this poem is called Corse Hair. It's in print. The ballet bastard pushes his thumbs into his mistress's sides and lifts. He puffs through his moustache. You haven't been eating well. She spins away, scorching her toes on the floor. And they are close again. She digs her rusty nails into the back of his skull, tells him that she still has that cutlass from the last production and that she could cut it all off by tonight and no more fucking for you. My dear, he says through small bits of food, you are not helping. It is your breath, not your weight. She kisses him and flashes a torrent of saliva into the back of his throat. He chokes. The director is up, pacing, panting. I hate them! Amateurs! Unprofessionals! All the things that are slung at thespians. This ballet is about love, pain, and hope. They retire to their dressing rooms. His has a cheap prostitute, cheap because she must wait, locked in for hours at a time. She only performs when he isn't. Hers has a case of bourbon to demonstrate her extravagance in weight. She is usually the one who ends the rehearsal, a slip down her throat and a slip on that floor waxed every morning and noon. The taste of wax spoils the taste of bourbon. Love will be dashed on the rocks. They fuck every once in a while in the corridor between their dressing rooms. His prostitute watches is sometimes required to do erotic etchings. Brackets. She's a failed artist.
Close brackets.
They fall, him deep inside her, her finger deep inside him. This ballet is about love, after all. No, he tells her, quiet this time. This ballet is about pain. He squeezes her neck with those thumbs. She cries out. She asks him to cut her feet, pulling out the cutlass. He won't do it. We have rehearsal. She always asks, though. This ballet is about hope, she says. She loves the way her feet hurt. Bones will be dashed on the rocks. They wander home in different directions, each pulled to the pavement with cocaine blues and a desire for love, pain and money. Sometimes he begs, sometimes he steals. Later in the evening they will play out fantasies of joint bank robberies and master entrepreneurial plans, things they could do together to escape. But before then, they sit at different bars on different ends of the city, facing different directions, expecting to be cut together for a badly edited film in which they can never kiss. She orders a shot of bourbon, dashed on the rocks.
Oh,
Yeah.
Good, because this is too long for people that don't like David Bowie. But this is all about David Bowie. I think the most interesting thing about David Bowie is that he like has all these personas that he's like changed over the years. Like 12 different kind of characters he's played, and the way they kind of spill out into his life, and what it must be like to have to like change your brand like every however many years, sometimes very quickly. So yeah, if you're willing to indulge me and you really like David Bowie and you're aware of like the characters he played generally vaguely.
Can you list them?
Yeah, I can list them. So it's David Bowie. This is started with.
Yeah.
The Man Who Sold the World.
Yeah.
Ziggy Stardust. Aladdin Sane. It's just basically Ziggy Stardust again. Thin White Duke. Then there's the period, The Man Who Fell to Earth, sort of same kind of time, but it's a bit. It's in the poem. The Goblin King, Dareth. God love Dareth. Then there's just he was in a band called Tin Drum
Machine?
Tin Machine. Yeah. Thank you. So that's just like where he wasn't credited, so it wasn't David Bowie. It was just Tin Machine. And then it was like the outsider character in the 90s, the late 90s, and then it was like elder Bowie in like early 2000s, and then recently the thing that I was reading something, and I like to think of it as meta Bowie. It's all in the poem, kind of, but then you've got, there you go. I'll get on with it because I was going to be like, this is a fucking long poem. It's not that long. But it has like an epigraph and then it gets into it properly. Why release an album of your definitive collected work and call it Nothing Has Changed? No matter how well you brand yourself, Mr. Bowie, even the greatest labellers' makeup will fade. Perhaps you are better than me at pretending to be something made up of a brickwork of words. I can't make words stick like that, Mr. Bowie. I notice everyone around me with their names and their hurt. So I'm Mr. Me, Mr. I Can't See. The world from this window is right fucking tiny. Mr. Sincere, Mystery Beer, touch me, it might be the last chance this year. But it all goes to shit when that's just not who I am. When I flushed all the Mr. E just down the pan. When I'm cold and I'm empty because you've stolen my name and left me to keep reinventing again. I am the man who sold the world. I'm the truth unfurled. You can't get a job unless you're submissively curled. I'm a pawn in the game, addicted again, drunk at 5, middle class fame. But it all goes to shit when that's just not who I am, when I've got nothing to show like a discarded yam. When I'm skint, because I spent all my youth yesterday, worried how sober I'll now have to stay. I'm fucking Ziggy, take that dad, cyberpunk hippie, I'll take all the spare words that you're willing to give me. I'm finally burning, no longer just learning, I think this might finally be me. But it all goes to shit when that's just not who I am. One name can't contain my brain's putrid gam. When the paint won't come off, try as I might, gotta pick myself up and fight the good fight. I am a lad insane, though largely the same. I've reconsidered that I might just try this again. Fuck all the haters, the pound land cheese graters, I humbly refuse to shake hands with my makers. Insert jazz piano. But it all goes to shit when that's just not who I am. I thought I was standing up to my problems, but I saw them and ran. When I finally see that my achievements mean nought, I pack up, I cash up, and I make my way out. I am the thin white duke, battered old loot, scoring my life that the good times refute. Crash landed with friends, and we all had the bends. Somewhere by the wall, it goes on now, still with no end. But it all goes to shit when that's just not who I am. How do you reach round the U-bend when your life's down the pan? When you can't communicate, when you've lost something solid? You make a deal with the devil, or you work, and you try to work honest. There's an interlude here which I can't write express. Sometimes there's just space in my head. And I put it there, where the thin white duke became honest. And suddenly there I was again, surrounded by forest. And I'm the Goblin King! Oh, let's have a sing! I'll stroke my shiny balls and run you in rings. Jareth's the name, reborn again. Of all the next moves, this one is definitely the most sane. But it all goes to shit. Have you seen Labyrinth? Has anyone seen it? Good, right, okay, good. feel like explaining the deeper meaning of the poem halfway through it, but it all goes to shit when that's just not who I am. I stuffed my trailer with costumes and off I fucking ran. When they caught me, I was trying to walk upside down, so it was back to the drawing board to reclaim my crown. Let's go pretentious, I mean honest, no, not like the first time, and not like the second, just a regular dude with a regular band. It's democracy. It's not about me. It's Reeves, Hunt, and Tony, 3 besties. But it all goes to shit when that's just not who I am. When they ignore what I say and they're cramping my jam, when everyone else just thinks they know best, I realised I'm not ready to give Bowie a rest. I am the outsider, the jungle provider, Brian can't hide you, I've come back the kinds of spike synthesizer, suckling on cider, threat neutralizer, 97 advertiser, weak vaporizer, skunk appetizer, age of the sky, lend me a fiver, got my own driver, Berlin survivor, either... Well, I've been cut out of the Rugrats movie. Finally, don't give a fuck. It's Bowie potluck. Let's blow off the last of the steam like a bull in a rut. I'm elder. A little later, it follows on nicely. It's a little sedator. I'm photoed like me. I want you to see me. I want you to know what I've chosen to be. But it all goes to shit in 2004 when I collapse on the stage and cancel the tour. And after 10 years, something new has been forged. David sits on his throne to contorted applause. There's hour-long podcast talking about all the me's. I guess I'll coalesce with the weight of the breeze. David's scorn pours into his glare. This is your front page picture this week. Ruthless, efficient fanfare. The puppet returns, a master, all cast in monochrome rafters, a personal atlas who shed all his plasters. All the wounds and the scars and abandoned masks are up David's sleeve, and as he tenses his powerful palms, the world is mine now. I sit and decree, no longer penned in, but free to be me. Whoever I choose, I control, and it happens. Nothing has changed, it's just repeated patterns. But it's okay now, because David can see them. I won't tell you how, but Bowie's boxes have given him freedom. Thank you very much.